I must admit, the sun is doing a bit of good, isn't it? It's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. Lovely.
It's great.
No surf for a while, that's for sure.
Oh, God, have you seen the chart?
Yeah.
God alive, it's nothing, is it?
No.
We're going to get a little swell here, I think it was next Friday.
Oh, right.
It's going to be about 2-3 foot, through maybe
Yeah.
3 or 4 foot. But nothing of the none of the good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the local break Gwendres when it's 3 or 4 foot is quite fun actually. It's got a bit of push to it,
Yeah.
Not like Langennis at 3 or 4 foot.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I managed to get on catch up last night. I remember I bumped into Carwyn a couple of weeks ago in Gin and Juice, and he was having a meal out with his parents, and he must have come over for Gary's wake thing. And somebody had said there'd been a Welsh BBC Wales thing.
Yeah, Welsh Legends.
Yeah. Oh, it was a cracking program.
Yeah.
Last night. Oh, it's really, really well made,
Yeah.
and actually managed to get footage, sort of from early on. So
he's got a ton of footage, man, because when he was, because he was living in France, and what a lot of people didn't realise is how actually big he was on the circuit.
yeah,
How really well known he was,
Yeah.
because for us, for people in Wales or Mumbles,
yeah,
just Willie comes home, Will's back, tidy. But, when he's out on the circuit, like, he was up in the top 16,
yeah.
he was
And
going to
then-
break, that year when he had the accident, he was going to break into it, for sure. He was
Yeah.
just doing stuff that was years ahead of a lot of other people, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember having him on my radio show, and I'm not sure I've been down there long, and it was the main chat was about the surface sewage,
Yeah.
And I remember at the time it was a thing he'd been talked about as sort of like a Phil Collins lookalike, because about then, I mean, he looked the same kind of facial whatever as Phil Collins, But that must have been a little while after the accident then, because that looked like late 80s. Was it about 89 or something when he had the accident?
Can't remember. No.
Yeah, and he went through the thing then of actually, rehab and almost giving up, because he was doing really well, wasn't he, up until the accident? He said he was on his way to the airport to fly to, I'm not sure it's South Africa or somewhere, where he got wiped,
Yeah.
But then to come back after about, what, 2 years, 18 months, 2 years,
Yeah.
get back there and,
Yeah.
He
must have had some flipping determination because, didn't he? I think he said in the program that they'd more or less told him that he'd never walk.
Yeah, he wouldn't surf again, at least,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause he had that big leg iron thing on, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I remember the girl, the name more than because when those sort of early days, her name was always abound. The really, what's her name now? Was she from Porthcawl? She was always winning the women's stuff.
in the shop.
In the shop.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the PJ's input was it's funny because PJ's voice has been going a bit. And so it was you had to hang on to catch what PJ was saying, because his voice is very small. It's really
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the throat, But yeah, good little input from everybody had a good word. So it's a nice little setup he seems to have in is it Senyos Hossigo? Where's he at?
News.
Yeah, and it was great, but seeing all his boards and finally all his awards and stuff.
He's got one of my ex boards on his wall.
Is he?
Yeah, when I saw that, it's the orange one, the 4-fin, but it used to be a 6-fin. And when I saw that, I knew he had it. I knew he had it because he wrote and told me, I just picked up one of your old boards. He sent me a photo. I didn't know he had put it on his wall, so I was quite quite pleased.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's nice, you know.
Yeah. Nice. It was really servant seeing him now and looking back on it all. That documentary, it was cracking. It was and quite sort of heart rending at times. And of course, he and his dad actually kind of had to stop a minute when they were filming because that's some of the stuff.
Yeah.
You can see they were reliving those moments,
Yeah.
But did his folks, or did he used to live? Because it shows him walking down Rotherslade Road, going down to Rotherslade.
He used to have the Wittenberg Hotel.
The what?
The
Yeah,
Wittenberg.
Wittenberg.
All right.
First place on the right
Yeah.
was the Wittenberg Hotel, and that's
Oh,
where they
is
lived.
that the place that got knocked and somebody didn't do a jobby on it about 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that used to be Carwyn's mum's and dad's guest house.
All right. Get it, huh? Yeah. I remember that name, yeah, Wittenberg, yeah. Because did you live a couple of doors down for a while, Con?
Yeah, I was living down in 39 at the bottom, opposite the car park of the of the Rotherslade.
For whatever reason. I must have come around there once for I can't remember what it was for.
Probably.
Yeah.
I used to have hell with his father. His father was a pain in the neck.
How's that?
Yeah.
Well, I worked for BT, and he used to have a payphone in the guest house, and he'd complain of the most ridiculous things, stuff that you're just not going to be able to find. Like if somebody says, the line crackles, and you pick the phone up and you can hear the crackle, you can generally find where that is normally a damp block or a high resistance wire about to break.
Did you say you used to work for BT? That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And but he'd say, I was on the phone last night and it bleeped. All right. Is it bleeping now? No, but it bleeped last night. Right. So you pick the phone up. Well, there's no bleep there now. No, but you need to find where that bleep is. Well, I can't find it if it isn't there. It was things like that, and then he'd go off on one and say, all your engineers come here, never find anything, never prove anything wrong. But he was really hard work.
Yeah.
I don't know if he listens to these, but
I doubt it very much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was good to see him. Then they'd obviously because he was out with his folks for a meal, and I had a quick catch up with him, and he was saying, he said, remember that ramp in Andrew Park? He said that was that was the top ramp in the country. He said at that time.
Was, yeah.
It was only up for a short period, wasn't it?
Yeah. They had a great contest down there. Wow. It was ram jam full, and it was just so many good skaters there. I took my van in there and did the sound for it. And I remember then I had my van parked more or less across there's the ramp, and I'm sort of in the van at the side of it playing stuff, And I was with Tim Che was with me, and we were doing the commentary and the sounds for it. And I always remember, and I said to Carwyn about somebody. I think it was a skater from away somewhere, but they, back and forth. And then at one point he lost it going up, and the skateboard went straight up, and he got stuck in the trees. Yeah.
And they couldn't get it down. Like they were throwing all sorts of things to try and get the trucks going on the branch.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's funny when Carwyn was saying about when he just used to skateboard, and then they looked out and they could see people on the waves, and he said, "Wait a minute, that looks like what we're doing, but on the water."
Yeah.
Skateboarded on the wave,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to, but I think I
I must have surfed. Yeah, I surfed first, and then I skateboarded around about. Let me think now, because they weren't decks. I remember making my own deck and getting where'd I get the trucks from? I can't remember now.
Roller skates.
Yeah, no, but I had proper trucks.
Oh, good lord! You were posh.
Yeah.
But I remember the wheels then. It was the OJs was the thing, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Bloody hell, Sammy going posh. Yeah, it's posh there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I started before I was surfing. I must be, I don't know, 11, 12, something like that. We used to have a roller skate with a book and sit
Oh,
on
I remember doing that. Yeah, I remember doing that. Roller skating, a
Then
book
for
on the
some
top,
reason,
and you go down on your ass.
wood. And then
Yeah.
for some reason, then I don't know, we took the skate apart, flattened it all out,
Yeah.
and then nailed it on. Nailed it
Yeah.
on. But the thing was, the first time I did it, I nailed the trucks on the wrong way round. So
Oh,
one way, turned the other. He turned to go left.
yeah, go right.
Go right. So I thought, what's wrong with this? And the two worked it out. You know, it was evolution of skateboarding sort of thing. So then we ended, but those were like the old rubber wheels. You remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacko skates, weren't they?
I don't know what they were called, but they were bloody
Yeah,
slow.
that was the make of them, the roller skates, Jacko.
Is it
Yeah.
Jacko? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and the rubber wheels, and then we got. And I tried a Hobie board. I think it was outside the surf shop. Somebody had a Hobie board, you know, the wooden one, the laminated one.
Yeah.
And it was with the clay wheels, and it seemed like, God, it was like a Rolls Royce, you know. It's like, oh, I've got to have one of those, you know. So and then all of a sudden we got the urethane revolution came along, and it was like you're on cloud nine with a pair of urethane wheels, you know.
Yeah.
They said no more dead stops with the stone, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think either the rather bright orange or green. Yeah, orange. I think the OJs.
Mm.
Yeah, orange, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember then when when the roller skating came along, I remember getting now what from I'm not sure if there was the boots from your shop, Dave, and then where did I get the
The
basic-
Bauer, were they Bauer boots?
No, it was prior to Bauer, and I still got them now. I still got them somewhere, and they had Velcro fastened across, but they weren't Bauer's, but they were really, really good, really good. They were import from somewhere, and I think I had them from your shop. You know,
Yeah, we sold. I'm just trying to think what.
they were two-tone leather. It was brown and
Yeah.
yeah. I must dig them out. I think I got them. They've been in a red bag for years and years and years.
Don't
My
be tempted to go on it, Sam.
What? Don't tempt it.
Don't be tempted to go on it.
Well, I remember I used to use them regularly because in 1979, I remember I was doing it must have been around 79. I was doing a roller discos, the early days for roller discos. So I persuaded the top rank to put on a roller disco. I said it's the thing, you know. Nobody else was doing it in town, and so we went. They booked in a load of skates. I DJ'd it and organised all the games and generated it. And I did it, and I DJ'd it from the stage with my skates on, you know, and I go down and skate and do all sorts. Tell you one of the guys who was there, you'd know, and he was one of the marshals. It was Mike Bonarelli.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His young brother, we used to call him Mini Marshal, and I met him about a year or two ago. He said, "Oh, I'm not sure if you remember me." Of course, he's in his kind of late 30s, early 40s now, but he was more likely about 10 then. and he was a mini marshal, and okay, then you could be a mini marshal. He had the shirts on him, but his older brother Mike Bonarelli, he was really good skater, and a guy called Sullivan, who was a bit of a maniac, you know, but he was a really good skater. You'd see him ploughing down Walters Road, coming from the uplands, right in the middle of the road, you know, weaving all the traffic.
Is that bloke still about? You saying that now? He looks a bit odd. He skates up and down in Southend on the prom.
There's a guy on the prom, yeah, I've seen him, and he's always got headphones on, and he's doing lots of backward stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I don't recognise him, but I've seen him around for a year or two. You know?
Yeah.
Bella, shush. Nothing happening. Dog's going to get crazy.
Been talking
Ah!
to her dog again, Sam.
You what?
Been talking to her in dog again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shush. Go away. Well.
Yeah.
I've been out on the bike most of the last couple of days. The van's in the garage having some stuff done, so I've been using the bike for transport. So it was it's been quite nice the last couple of days.
Yeah.
With nice and dry. I'm trying.
What's
What?
funny when you go to a different part of the country, you know, on Facebook, you keep getting, in this area, we get surfers against sewage and sign the petition and all this stuff, and they'll show a map with the coastline of Wales where all the outlets are and everything. When I was in Devon now last week, you got the same thing down by there. So I clicked on it, because it was all the south coast, all the outlets, and it pumping all the crap into the sea. And it said on the petition that the Southern Water, they want to build a reservoir. Didn't say where they want to build it, but they want to build a reservoir, fill it with all the sewerage, right? Treat it, and then that's what people will drink. And everybody's saying, you know, it's not happening. You know, it's not going to happen. But it's going to end up happening. And then while I'm down there, I'm thinking, I dipped my toes in the water. It was bloody freezing. But you do think, when you see, when they come out with the numbers of how many times they let all this crap go, because and they obviously have to report it because maybe they get a bigger fine, but they say that it's cheaper to pay the fine than what it will cost them to treat it all.
Yes.
But they haven't got, they've said on the news now or something, they're going to invest, is it something like £10 million on, but I mean, you think £10 million in England and Wales, or £10 billion, it's not going to go very far, is it?
No. No,
Yeah.
they the thing is the Swansea one, they used to let it out. It's every time it rained,
Yeah.
the place couldn't handle the amount of water, so they let all the stuff from West Cross and Mumbles went out off the head again.
Yeah.
But they put in that fail-safe when they built it. If you remember, they had all those meetings about it, and I said, well, why are you sending because what they were doing, they were sending it down to the pier and then coming back along the prom.
Right.
And they said, well, we have to do that in case we have an emergency and we can't take it to Swansea, which meant they were going to just put it out in the short outfall
Yeah.
off Mumble's head. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's the one, I don't know whether they're all registered, but you can always see the detergent on the water.
Yeah.
Froth on the water. You know, that's the detergent.
Well, I was in Bracelet last year, me and my daughter on the paddle boards.
Yeah.
And 1 minute you paddle in and it's perfectly clear. And the next minute, you went through all this, well, I don't know whether it was shit, but it certainly looked like it, all broken up. And it just, I won't say covered the board, but there was a hell of a lot of it. And you just thought, for Christ's sake, don't fall off by here. You know?
Yeah.
So you sort of turn around, trying to be as careful as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then you paddle back out of it. And then you're trying to slosh water across the board to wash it off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were surfing whether you'd be aware of it because because you're standing looking down and the board is white, and when you've got all this tiny bits of brown stuff floating and settling on top of the board, it tends to stand out.
Yeah.
Before, when they just didn't have any sort of treatment system, it used to come out raw, didn't it? You know, and how many people was getting ill in Langland?
Yeah.
Because of it, you know, and you can see it every time. You see boogie, big lumps of shit floating around in front of you and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I think by comparison from what it was, it's got to be a million times better, isn't it? But still not the best.
It's probably better than.
Yeah, well, the thing is, how they did it before, they used to just break it up. They used in Mumble's Head, where you know where those doors are. All it is they put in a tunnel. They dug up to almost to the surface in the rock, and they pump it up, drop it down the hole.
Right.
And they had a wire mesh. But the wire mesh was, you'd get a small plastic bucket, would go through it.
Right.
It was that big.
Yeah.
And that's how they broke it up before they put it in the sea.
Right. Yeah.
That was before they
built
the place down in Fabian Way.
But I mean, you know, like you wouldn't want to be swallowing it. But I suppose, as you say, years ago,
we did.
You'd be chewing on it.
Oh yeah. Aberafan was famous for it, man. Inside the river, inside the harbour at Aberafan, on that little left-hand there, right next to the river. I mean, he'd be serving next to sheep, tampons, johnnies, everything, like, you know. It was really bad.
And heavy metal there.
And heavy metals, yeah.
Yeah.
Used to come out head banging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the days, the good old days.
Yeah, there's a nasty outfall in Pennard, isn't there? You know where you go to Westcliff?
Yeah.
Where the home is on the right.
Right.
Just round the corner there's a little pumping station.
All right.
That's where they pump all the sewage out for Pennard. I was gonna go swimming in the sea, and we walked along towards, down Pobbles, and saw the brown thrick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's right by, Three Cliffs.
Yeah. Wonderful Gower heritage at its best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most iconic, I think it's got to be the most photographed day in Britain, isn't it? Three Cliffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And it's full of shit.
Yeah.
But no, they'll clean it up one day when it's too late.
Yeah, when it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there was a thing on the television earlier on now on Country File. They were saying in, I think it's a village about 15 miles north of Cardiff. And they were saying that
I saw that. Yeah.
There was a disused quarry, and they've used it about 50 years ago to dump all chemical waste into this quarry. So they've obviously just chucked it in there in drums and God knows what, and then buried it. But obviously now what's happening over the last few years, all the containers have rusted through, and there's water coming out of this flipping quarry, and it's bringing all this chemical stuff.
Right, yeah.
With it.
Yeah.
That's probably more of a worry, because at least with shit, you know what it is, but with chemicals, you don't have a clue what it is, do you?
And
they said they showed you the list of stuff, and there was like stuff that was dumped as just dumped, Yeah. They didn't put down what it was.
No,
there wasn't a lot of far-sightedness back in those days, was there?
No. Yeah.
And it's not the stuff you can see that's going to kill you, is it? It's the stuff you can't see.
Yeah. It's like I'll put something up in the attic and think I may want it in, or I'll never want to use that again. But they are dumping chemicals and thinking, well, it won't rust in my lifetime, so who cares?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I won't get caught for doing this, so it's all right.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
Yeah,
I'll be gone by the time.
yeah. I'll have my bonus. I'll have my bonus for getting rid of it cheaply. Yeah,
What a way to run a country in that.
yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
And we're quite good compared with some other countries, aren't we?
Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
They have stuff laying around, don't they? That's, really toxic.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
laying there,
If you look at just the non-toxic stuff, plastics,
Yeah.
barley, for example. I mean, it's just plastic everywhere.
yeah,
It's full of plastic,
yeah.
Yeah, cause again, places like Bali, they chuck everything in, don't they?
Yeah, everything goes in the river,
Yeah, you didn't go to Japan, did you, Con?
No, I didn't.
No, but they were still putting sewage out from Miyazaki, a big place, a big
Yeah.
town, and they were just putting it in the sea.
Must have been like
Because there was good surf there, but nobody would surf there.
Oh dear.
Mm.
For the Welsh guys in the team, must have been like home from home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's other things though. My daughter was saying they went down to Llangennith, and I think it was maybe Wednesday night, and they said they'd never seen as many jellyfish. What another big things? The Portuguese men, I don't know if they're Portuguese men of war. And she said you basically you had to watch where you stepped. There were that many. You took a load of photographs, and there was hundreds of them washed up on the beach.
Yeah. Happens every few years, doesn't it? You get
Yeah. I mean, I can understand it. Like when the water's really warm and you'd see them, but I mean, the water's not that warm now.
No, that's it. They've come over thinking it's going to be warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come over all
They've all died of the cold.
Died of cold, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's something to do with the Gulf Stream, isn't it? Because it goes higher and lower, and sometimes it goes higher and you don't get them. And then sometimes when it drops down a bit, the water just warms up just a little bit, and all these little jellyfish get caught up in it, don't they?
Yeah.
And then you had like lots of northwesterly winds here, so that's blowing them down from the Atlantic into around our coast, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because we've had a lot of easterly winds, haven't we, this year? I bet prevailing wind over the last 3 or 4 months has been easterly instead of southwesterly.
It's been northwest, yeah?
Yes, it's been northeast here.
All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting the northwest off your northeast.
Yeah. So you've been getting our weather then?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Well, they call it over here, when it starts raining over here, the bloody English sent us the weather again. We got English weather,
Yeah.
Damn, les Anglais.
They've been clopping it in Italy, haven't they?
Yes, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn over there. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Well, they've had more rain in a day than they normally have in a year.
Oh, yeah.
It's one place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said
Floods everywhere.
flash floods and really bad.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to look at that in the news.
Yeah, it's a bit horrendous up there.
Mm.
And a big low, isn't there, off that end of the Med? It's just been sitting there, and
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's all dumped.
yeah. They can keep it down there as well, down that.
That's the thing when you get down south a bit. And when you get heavy rain down there, you really do get heavy rain, don't you?
Yeah.
I remember one time in Biarritz, first time we went there, and we were staying at the other side of Biarritz. When you know when you go down the hill from where the steakhouse was,
Yeah.
down out of Biarritz now, and
Yeah.
just at the bottom is a place called Milady.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a camping just up on the
Campsite. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
camping just up on the hill there. So we were on it up in this camping, and it started raining. It was this huge, mega thunder and lightning storm. Never seen anything like it in my life. It was amazing. You know, you thought the end of the world had come. And all of a sudden, we're in the tent, like, you know, trying to keep not dry, but out of the way a bit. We're thinking we go to the bar, you know. And next thing you know, and well, yeah, I won't explain the whole story because it gets a bit entailed with women and stuff. But next thing you know, I get washed out of the tent. There's this fucking wave, a 2-foot wave, comes flying through the campsite down a hill. It takes 2 ranks down, like, and I'm on my lilo, and this girl's on a lilo with me as well, and the 2 of us go flying down this hill. Oh God, the tent stayed up, but it just went through the tent, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing. Some good lightning storms that night, that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a bad one in La Torche when we had hailstones, which were like firebox, you know, the little white fire things you start your barbecue with.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it was like that coming out the sky. People, luckily, I was in the camper, and because the windscreen is upright, but the cars that had the lean back windscreens were all getting pepper marks, you know.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Where they were hitting and starring the screens. Yeah.
God.
That's
We
near
haven't had any good storms down here for ages now.
No.
It's been quiet. Weather's been mysteriously quiet, even for big storms like coming in from the Atlantic. It was this spring was just a washout for storms, you know. A washout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't wish it on yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it's nice to get some shots and stuff like that. Yeah. I like it when it gets wild. I like to get out in it, you know, and just do some filming and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm not one to go down the beach and take photos of the sand or the blue water. I want action when I go.
The pebbles.
The pebbles, yeah, and the trees, and the birds,
Yeah.
and the comers, yeah. And the church. Oh yeah, you can take a photo.